Alright, welcome to another unboxing video. For this video, we are going to be unboxing Tenku no Toma or Rowen of Strata of your Ronin Samurai Troopers or Ronin Warriors. This figure was made by Sentinel. He stands about 6.5 inches tall. He was released earlier this year on January 15th of 2022. I just now received him from Entertainment Earth. He was priced at $144.99. He comes with free shipping on Entertainment Earth, and I had a catalog code which gave me an extra $15 off. I didn't pay any taxes. I ended up paying overall $129.99, but typically he's sent with the slower shipping on FedEx, so it took about probably a little bit over a week or about a week. So yeah, this is going to be my second Sentinel figure, and I am going to make my attempt at, building every version of him that I can possible, or at least one version on the body and one version in the chair. If you live in the United States, he is still available on Big Bad Toy Store, but he is sold out on Entertainment Earth. Before I start unboxing this, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already yet, and please check out my blog at otaku.com. I do anime reviews there, and I also have the figure reviews there as well. And also check out my other unboxing videos on YouTube as well. And just real quick, let me give a shout out to everyone that's commented on the channel. I'm not for sure if I mention your name, but shout outs to Han Hattori Hanzo, Gichi for real, Lorenzo Aquino, Fing the Puni, Infini, Months, I think that's how you say your name, Alternative Crinks. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for commenting on the channel. I appreciate it very, very much. And I appreciate all you guys that came to the channel recently. I'm about around 220 subscribers. So I appreciate all the love and the support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out my blog at otaku.com. Check out my other videos on YouTube as well. I appreciate it very, very much. And let's go ahead and unbox this. Alright, so I've received many packages from Entertainment Earth before, and they have their own logo on the box. It's pretty easy to kind of figure out if it's an Entertainment Earth box. And majority of the time when I get a package from Entertainment Earth, they actually send a catalog. So it looks like it comes in this little plastic paper wrap. Alright, the packaging on this one isn't very much different from the Sage of Halo one. It's basically the same kind of design. You just swap out the character and swap out the color. Instead of green, you have blue. So there isn't too much really to say about the box. It is pretty on par with the last one. Nothing else inside the box. Here is their instruction manual, and one thing cool about Sentinel is they actually put a little bit more effort into their instruction manual to make it look really nice. As you can tell, it's actually printed in color, which is a really, really nice instruction manual right here. I love this. The first assembly is we're going to put him on his body. For step one, we're going to put on his hip body armor. Here's the piece that goes on the back. This is the piece that goes in the front. See right there. Alright, so it looks like it's supposed to look like that. So for step two, we're going to put that little armor onto that armor that we just put on his hip. Here is supposed to be the letter L on it. You kind of slightly see it engraved. It looks kind of scary at first because this hip armor piece, it's obviously to lock in, it's like smaller, but it'll just slide in. It's like smooth enough where there's not like a lot of friction. It feels like it might break, but it looks like it just slides in. So let's try it on this other one so you guys kind of see what I mean. So it right here, you kind of tell it's smaller, but if you just kind of slide it. So now the side armor piece is on. You kind of see it's kind of loose right here, but I think that's just kind of how it's meant to be. So just be careful with that. And then step 3 and step 4. Step 3, put on his back armor piece, kind of where he holds his arrows, and then the front armor piece. On the sides, it'll have like kind of a latch piece. On the top, it kind of latches on there too. I honestly didn't really have to do much with the armor piece. It literally just slides right in place pretty seamlessly. So that's probably the easiest part to put on him so far. It's that breastplate armor, the back and the front. It just literally slides on, which is really nice. Then step 5, we're going to put on his shoulder armor. So all these figures, it comes with like that little gray armor piece. So you just snap it off and then put on the shoulder armor piece. And right there, and then the armor piece, it kind of just slides right on. Alright, looks like I got that left shoulder piece on. You kind of see it has a symbol, so that's on the left. It's not labeled with the L or an R. At least I didn't see it, but it seems pretty obvious. This is where you put the shoulder. So, onto the next shoulder piece. See, as I'm putting his armor pieces on, you notice like you kind of have to hold him at certain places. If you're holding his armor while you're putting it on, things do kind of feel like, at least the top armor plates feel like they move out of place. But like I said, when we first put it on, or when I first put it on, it kind of just slid in. So if it falls out, it'll just slide right back into place if you're holding his armor. So try to grip him in a place where like it doesn't feel like you're gonna break him. But yeah, there's only a small amount of force that you need to kind of push it in place. So we actually did steps 5 and 7 already, so we're gonna go ahead and do step 6 and switch out his arm plates. And here, after you remove that arm plate, you kind of see it's kind of shaped as like an L, and then you could pick up the armor and you could tell that it's shaped in the right place. And then we're going to go ahead and switch hands. Or maybe I'll take off the armor first and then put in his hand because I could get a better grip. That was a lot easier. Put on the hand first and then put on the arm plates. That makes a lot more sense. So we're going to do the same on this one. Let's take back off the armor of his arm and then remove his hand. Then put on his hand piece. His hand is fully on there, I believe. And then put back on his arm piece. Alright. And then the bottom of his leg, we're going to switch out the little smaller armor that's on his feet right now and then switch it to the bigger part. And then we're going to go ahead and slide on that kind of shin armor. You see on his foot, like it's a little peg that's kind of protruding. You see right here on the inside, well, it's kind of hard to see, but it just slides in. We're going to do the same with the other foot. Here you have the little shin piece. You kind of see like there's like the little magnet that's inside of the leg piece. Yeah, for the shin piece, we kind of just have to put it in at an angle. Kind of like that. It just slides right on like that. Same thing for the other leg. You kind of just slide it on at an angle up top. And it just kind of slides in just like that. And to be honest, you probably could just stop right there if you want, but we're going to go ahead and change his head. So for this, we're actually going to do the helmet, and then let's do the face with this armor face plate thing and do that. There, I kind of removed his head. Here, it comes with the helmet already in piece, so you kind of have to separate it yourself. You want to be kind of careful here because if you kind of pull down a little bit too low here, it might snap off and break. So try to find a way. So here, I kind of made it loose up top right here, and I kind of used my little box opener to kind of help pry it open. Because like I said, I don't want to grab from below and then use all that force on the weakest part of the armor, because I feel like it might break if you pull it too hard. But here is the back of this plate. There's that little slit right in there. There's actually a little hole in that little slit. So if you just kind of push it in there, the hair gets into place. They give you about like 3 different faceplates, so I decided to go with this faceplate right here. And again, with the back of the helmet where the hair is, there is the little hole right there, and he just goes straight in. And then with this face and hair intact, you go ahead and close the head of the armor, and then boom, right here. You see how long that hole is? It should fit all the way in there. Now we're ready to put on his bow and arrow. So it looks right here for step 15 or step 16, we want to go ahead and remove the piece that's on his back and then slip on that other piece. Here we are. Slides off and slides on. And it looks like for his bow and arrow, or his bow, that it kind of bends like that. And then for step 18, you're just gonna slide it onto the back of his armor. See that? It just slides right there. It looks like there is also the option to kind of put it on like that. Let's see if we can do that. So yeah, so with it on there, actually, it just wants you to turn it like that. So once you turn it like that, you can kind of feel that it's kind of tightened up. It's not as loose. You see as I'm shaking him, it's not moving or anything. This right here is his first build. We're going to go ahead and try on the next build. All right, so now we're going to go for the next build, and we're going to go ahead and put on bow and arrow this way so he has it in position in his hand. So the first step is we are going to switch out his hands. So go ahead and take off his arm piece first, because that is what makes it easier to switch his hands. We're gonna go for this hand piece right here. There it goes. So for step 2, it looks like the arrow, it looks like it just fits right into his hand. You kind of see there's like a little hole right there, so you want to try to get that arrow to fit into that hole. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like it's in there. Then for the next steps to put on the bow onto his hand, it looks like they want us to put the hand onto the bow first and then put that little blue piece onto him. So again, take off the armor, the arm armor, then take off his hand. From here, we're going to open back up his bow. And we're going to make sure that pointy part is facing downwards. And it looks like I'm just going to have to pry his hand open a little bit to kind of shove this in. So there you have the bow into his hand. I kind of use like a little toothpick or something to kind of help open up the 3 fingers that kind of hold on right here. Because it looks like you could slide the bow into his hand, but like the fingers get in the way, so you kind of have to use something to kind of help push open the fingers a little bit to slide the rest of the bow into his hand. And it looks like you could put the little armor on the back of his hand, so you're gonna have to pull it off one of his other hands with the armor on it, and boom, there you go. Now you're gonna want to put the hand back into place. Hand first. Boom, hand into place. And again, with the armor, the arm armor, just put it back on. Here, I'm just kind of trying to slide his arm to place to kind of make that angle. All right, and now for the last assembly, we're gonna go ahead and put him on the chair. Same thing, hip piece first. The first hip piece, and then now the side hip piece. Then you have the back armor piece with the front armor piece. You want to watch out for this little flappy piece right here because it kind of like breaks off. So you want to make sure you stick it underneath it before you put on the body armor. Now for the shoulder pads. Now you just got the legs. And the feet. And then you have the arms, arm armor. Alright, and then for the very last thing, his face. We're gonna change his face into this. And then on the back piece of his helmet, you go ahead and slide a face. Just go ahead and put it back on. And boom. And then one of his hand pieces, you have like this blue armor piece. Hard to see, but you want to go ahead and slide that on to his hand right here. Cover it up. Now you have the finished sitting pose figure piece. Alright, welcome to the review portion of this video. So first, let's talk about the price. Should you buy this overseas or in the US? From what I've seen, the prices are relatively even. You might even end up paying maybe a little bit more overseas, and you might be able to pay a little bit less if you live within the US. You might want to check domestically from whatever country you're from, what kind of prices are to kind of compare to how much it would cost compared to if you're buying it straight from Japan, like customs clearance and all those kind of costs. But as always, if you buy your figures from overseas, you'll most likely get it sooner than you would if you're buying it domestically. So I got this figure from Entertainment Earth with the $15 off coupon off a purchase $100 or more. That was the catalog coupon, and it came with free shipping. But it looks like they don't really do those kind of deals right now. For at least the past like half a year, we are going through some inflation concerns and cost concerns, supply chain concerns. It looks like they don't have those great deals, but hopefully within the next year or two, Entertainment Earth will have more of those kind of deals for us. But the good thing about Entertainment Earth is they have 3 really big things that's really good for the consumer. So first things first, like they have a low price guarantee. So Entertainment Earth, it's like based in the US. So if you find another US retailer that sells that same item for less, they're going to reimburse you that difference. And then they're going to give you that extra 10% off your next purchase, which is really cool. And also they have this hassle-free 90-day return. So if you open up your package and then there's some manufacturer error, you can return it. And of course, if you had your figure for some reason for 90 days without opening it, I mean, you'll be able to return that as well. And the other really good thing, I know a lot of people, they kind of hate on the Crunchyroll store about their shipping and then their packaging. So Entertainment Earth, from my experience, their packaging, I've received everything in very, very good condition. I never had an issue with any of my boxes being messed up or my figures being dented or anything like that. So they do have that mint condition guarantee. So that is really, really nice of them. So it kind of makes you think, okay, so if you're buying this figure from Big Bad Toy Store, they have the collector's quality edition. So it just guarantees that your figure comes in like almost perfect condition. So Entertainment Earth, they kind of just do that for you. So it's probably why a figure on Entertainment Earth is out of stock. Like I said, on Big Bad Toy Store, they have a crap ton still that's in stock. So if you guys are a fan of the show, they are available still on Big Bad Toy Store if you're from the US. So let's start with the bad first. Let's talk about the issues of this figure. Like, I feel like one of my worst nightmares kind of happened after I tried moving the pieces off the sitting chair pose back into the bow and arrow pose. What happened? The hand happened. When I was putting the bolt into the hand piece and using the toothpick to kind of pry open the hand, by the time I redid it again, so I took off that bow and arrow pose to put it in the sitting chair pose, and then I put that
sitting chair pose back into the bow and arrow pose. So I didn't do that on camera because I wanted my personal preferences to put that figure into that pose. So what happened? Half of his hand completely fell off the lining as I was trying to force the bow into his hand, but it still does reattach. Now though, like, his hand is still pretty loose and it comes off pretty easily if you're not careful with moving around the figure. So when I was adjusting his pose, it's very difficult for his hand to stay attached without falling off. So I'll probably have to get some epoxy glue sometime down the line. So if I ever move this figure, or if I ever detach that hand, it's probably gonna aggressively get looser and looser, and his hand might not stay attached anymore. But you know, the good thing is, like, it doesn't affect the aesthetic look. The next issue I had was the front chest piece. There's another piece that attaches to it underneath. It's like the little flap area that covers his, like, you know, his junk area. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be permanently attached to that or if I accidentally broke it off. Either way, you kind of have to hold both those front chest piece armor pieces while you are putting that back piece together to kind of assemble it together. So yeah, when I was putting it together, the figure, you know, as you put more and more armor onto the figure, you have less and less to hold onto the figure. So things can become kind of difficult to put on while you are, you know, kind of maneuvering your way around to kind of put the pieces on. The next part, let's talk about specifically about all the other parts of the assembly. So besides the aforementioned assembly piece issues, I think everything else was relatively easy to put on. Maybe you'll have some difficulties reattaching his hands. I know on the Sage of Halo one, I had a really difficult time putting his hands on, but I think this is something that I'm a noob at this, so I'm getting a lot more experience putting these figures together, and especially from the same line, I think this is something that it's not that big of a deal. So those balls to hands attachment can be tricky sometimes. So in the sitting chair pose, you might want to remove the arms first, as it can get in the way of putting on other parts of his armor. When you are detaching the head armor piece, if you have some nails on you, some long fingernails, or if you just have like a box cutter, a thin kind of, you know, plate that you could kind of slice through the helmet, the attachment, and just kind of pry it open a little bit, it's a lot safer than trying to detach it from the bottom of his helmet, because it's very weak and fragile there. The heavy part up top of his head armor is a lot stronger, so it makes a lot more sense to kind of detach it from up there. Also, when you put the arrow in his hand, there's like a little hole in his hand to fit in the arrow. I would have liked for it to be a bit more snug. So when you're trying to adjust the pose, like his arrow, if it's already in his hand, when you're moving it around, it's most likely going to fall out. So you want to make sure you move the pose in the position you like first before you kind of put the arrow in, because doing it the other way around, like I said, it falls out of his hand. So it's just one of those things where, you know, after you play around with the figure for a while, you kind of figure out, okay, what methods are a little bit easier in assembling it. So let's talk about the next thing, the functionality. All of his joints seem to be able to move in a 360 degrees. With the armor on the body, the figure will be able to move his arms straight up. With the armor on, his arms can move into like this T shape. His legs bend all the way to where you can have the figure on his knees. His legs go to the side about like at a 45 split like angle. The figure doesn't feel too clunky, but with the armor on, if you're moving him too much, his chest and back armor piece has a tendency to fall out of place. So what I mentioned earlier about my issue of that chest and back piece, and then that little flat piece underneath the chest armor piece, that might fall off. It's pretty easy to put back together, but just be, you know, for at least my figure, you might just have to reattach it every so often that it falls off. So yeah, it's really easy to reattach it, but it could be maybe a little bit annoying if you're trying to play around with your figure or holding it, or you're trying to adjust the pose. Overall, you won't have an issue with anything else. Every issue I've had is just pose related or the hand. All right, let's talk about the aesthetics. When it comes to the visual aesthetics, I think it looks amazing. Like I said with the Sentinel Sage of Halo one, the choice of paint and like gloss is something I personally prefer. It does reflect off the light. If you have like the light bulb, you can kind of see it reflect off of it, which is like, it's kind of annoying, but I think with the right lighting and then in just a normal like lighting environment, it looks great. I prefer that look over the Armor Plus one, which goes into the next thing with the Bandai Armor Plus versus the Sentinel versions. So to be honest, I think I would edge it to the Armor Plus right now. So the side of the Torrent figure was very sturdy. When I took the pieces off to reattach to the sitting post, I didn't have many issues at all that I couldn't figure out. If you guys want to check out my blog at otakusen.com, I have like an update with that sitting pose assembly. So when it comes to the painting color preference, I think you can't really go wrong with either one. Although, I wasn't a big fan of the Infernal Armor metallic colored one. For whatever it means, at least for me, I think it's still acceptable. It's still decent to look at. It's just a personal taste. So I do edge like the colors and then the painting to the Sentinel versions. But, since I got the side of the Torrent one, like I actually really like the paint aesthetics and look of that figure. And it was like very sturdy. I think for me, it's just a personal thing against like metallic colors. For the Infernal Armor, I guess I just prefer more of like just give me like the white colored one. I do like the side of the Torrent one. So I am getting the Armor Plus Kento Hard Rock figure probably by it could be by the end of this week or early next week. I'm getting it from Hobby Genki. So if that one turns out to be anywhere near the quality of the side of the Torrent one, I think I'm going to be pretty darn happy, and I'm going to be pretty set in saying, hey, I think I like Armor Plus more. So I'm very close to saying that, but I don't think you could go wrong with either one. So overall, when it comes to Sentinel Rowen of Strata figure, I think the hand breaking off might be 50% my fault and 50% quality control, or maybe the way that it was not made, but the design of it. So, I hate dealing with weapons accessories that involve like grabbing something. They've always given me trouble. It's always been, not very easy. It always feels like you have to use a lot of strength to put in those kind of accessories. I just have like this hate and love relationship with action figures because it gives you that flexibility to make a pose and add and change different things. But it increases the risk of you breaking it because you have to deal with so many damn pieces, and you have to have some decent dexterity to maneuver around these pieces. Thank God that hand piece doesn't ruin the aesthetic look of this figure. I'll just buy some epoxy glue and just deal with it that way if the hand ends up falling apart in half again and won't like reattach, and stay on. So the hand aside, the assembly was relatively easy. There wasn't any painting or noticeable sculpting errors. You guys know how much I like about the choice of paint and that shiny look with the Sentinel figures. So I don't think buying this figure is a bad choice. Just be aware of the handpiece that holds the bow. It is still available on Big Bad Toy Store. There's like 24 plus probably quantities still available there. It is sold out on Entertainment Earth, like I mentioned earlier. So you guys still have a chance to get this figure. And then the Armor Plus one is coming. It's supposed to come out in July. There is a good probability that the Sentinel version will still be available by the time the Armor Plus one comes out. Yeah, I'll be getting the Armor Plus one as well. So I'll be doing a review on that. So do I recommend this? Like I said, you guys can risk it and just wait for the Armor Plus one to come out. I would just, keep tabs on wherever, on Big Bad Toy Store, wherever other stores have it in stock. Just make sure, it's still there by the time, the Armor Plus one comes out and you get to see other people's reviews, my reviews, or any other images that pop up from that release. So yeah, that's all I really got to say. Let me know what you guys think about this figure. Do you guys like Sentinel more or Bandai Armor Plus? Or how do you guys feel about these action figures overall? Yeah, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I want to say thank you guys again for liking, commenting, subscribing, and all the newcomers that's gotten to my channel. I want to say welcome and thank you. I'm very appreciative of you guys' comments. Make sure to check out my blog at otakusin.com. I also do the figure reviews there as well. So all these figures, I most likely have a figure review on otakusin.com. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.